your seat right there is a little bit behind, you won't see my fiddle quite so clearly. Hello, it's time for the March workshop. And I know we have a couple of people online right now and others who may watch it on the later stream. So this is coming to you live from Alexandria, Virginia this time, Potomac Valley Scottish Fiddle Club, regular monthly meeting. And this time we are featuring the music of Willie Hunter. So here's a picture of Willie Hunter. Willie Hunter was a great Shetland fiddler. Made many recordings. A lot of people considered him to be the premier fiddler of his generation. Of course, maybe not the most famous because Ali Bain, also from Shetland, also super famous because of his international travels. But if you stayed closer to home, probably a lot of people would say, oh, Willie Hunter's superb. And he performed a lot with pianist Violet Tulloch. Oh, there's a picture. I'll put this up to the camera and then I'll show everybody here. So that's Willie Hunter with Violet Tulloch, the pianist. She's like the accompanist extraordinaire of Shetland. So Willie Hunter was born in 1933. He unfortunately passed away when he was in his 60s, so in the 1990s. But during his lifetime, he did a lot of performing. He was a well-known player who played at all the music sessions in Shetland and played at dances and played performances, concerts. When Tom Anderson was reviving Shetland fiddling and doing all his work to promote it with youth, Willie Hunter was right along with him. He was a member of the Haimfarers, which was a few years ago, we did a feature on Ronnie Cooper, the pianist. Ronnie Cooper and Willie Hunter were both in that group, which did a whole lot to make people aware of traditional and contemporary Shetland music. And so he's got this lovely book. It's not an enormous number of tunes, but the good thing about it is you don't have to look very far to find a whole lot of good tunes in it. So that's always a pleasant thing. If somebody's going to put out a relatively small number of tunes, you don't want to be digging and saying, oh, I guess I can come up with 3 or 4 good ones. No, that's not the case. Willie Hunter's book is full of really nice tunes, including many that you've already heard of, because we've had a few Willie Hunter tunes already in Fiddle Club. But I thought it was time to feature. So, how warmed up do you feel? And is everybody in tune? Let's make sure we're in tune. I tuned this just a moment ago, so let's try this. And folks online, if you can tap in and let me know if you can see and hear, so I can fix it if it's not going right. Just right into the chat. So there's the A. Okay, it's working fine. Okay, Connie says yes, and Richard says yes, can see and hear. That's good to know. All right. So I have airs, I have Strathspey, I have this nice polka, I have a bunch of reels, and I have a hornpipe and a jig. So it's quite a variety here. It was not difficult to find this variety in Willie Hunter's collection. So what would you like to learn first? A reel?
Yeah. Let's save the air for the end.
Okay. Now, I did include one tune by Willie Hunter's father, who was also Willie Hunter. So he became known as Willie Hunter Sr. I mean, for a while, you would see tunes by Willie Hunter and then Willie Hunter Jr. But then that shifted as the younger Willie Hunter became even more famous than his father, who was considered a great fiddler of his generation. And I do have a picture of Willie Hunter Sr. outside of his blacksmith shop because that's what he did professionally.
Wow.
That's Willie Hunter's father, the father of the Willie Hunter we're playing today. But I did include one of his tunes because he also composed some really nice tunes. All right. So I think that what we'll do is we'll start with this tune called The Willow Kishie. So like many Shetland tunes, it's named for something in Shetland dialect. So let me explain to you. So a kishie is a basket, and it's more particular. It's typically the kishie is a basket that's used for transporting peat blocks, which is the traditional fire fuel in Shetland. Shetland is a very windy North Atlantic group of islands, and so trees do not grow tall, and so you're not going to be harvesting firewood. If you got a tree, you're going to keep it. And so peat was a traditional fuel there, and the other thing was driftwood when it came up would be actually cherished rather than just burnt up in a fire. It would be used for rafters of houses and significant other, depending on the size of the driftwood. Because you can't grow a big tall tree, you're going to need that wood. So this is a willow kishie. So it's made out of willow strands woven into a basket. And then it gives some other information. It says most of the kishies were made out of straw. So you imagine a basket made out of straw. And unfortunately, they don't have a picture. But you have to imagine what it looks like. You can look it up on the internet. Somebody will do that, and they'll show us what it is. But let me play you the tune. And it is all, as are all the tunes today. They're all by Willie Hunter. Yeah, that's a nice tune, isn't it? I like it because while it has some of the modern Shetland reel flavor to it, it also definitely sort of pulls in some of the traditional Shetland reel feel. So it's in the key of D and uses a lot of scale and arpeggio work. So let's just find our D. And the pickup note is a low A. And let's just do a really quick D arpeggio because we're going to be using this right away. D, F sharp, A, and high D. And of course there are other arpeggio notes, but for the moment, let's just stop there. Okay, and that is how this tune begins, except in a different order. And as one wise man once said to me at a workshop, he said, "We've played all these notes before, just in a different order." I think that's so true, learning by ear. But anyway, let's take our pickup note of low A. And then here's how the first measure begins. It's all those arpeggio notes. D, F sharp, D. Next bit. So that's starting on the A. D, F sharp, A. that together, we have this. Okay, how's that going? Yeah, any questions so far? We're off to a good start. Second bar, we've just had our strictly arpeggio section. We're up to the high D now. So let's find that bit. And these are not all arpeggio notes. And the second half of that bar, back to arpeggio world. A, D, F sharp, D. So it ends low on D. So second bar put together is this. Ends low on D note. All right. Are you ready to put the first two bars together? We'll get this little D themed section here put together. So with the pickup note, it's this. Let's just do it again. How is that working out? Are there any questions about it? Any bits that you would like to clarify? Okay, let's move right along then. The E minor section is, by contrast, scale work. So the next two bars are up and down the scale in various ways. It starts on an E note. And it's down the scale first. However, since this is a modern Shetland tune, it has a chromatic note. So instead of just going down to an open D, it goes to a D sharp. So you have to move down to the D sharp and then back to the E. So let's just do E, D sharp, E. And now here is the actual pattern. So with 2 parallel figures. Okay, 4th bar. We're on the A note. We're going to go up to a B, and from here we go down the scale. Right down the scale. Now I'm going to add a turnaround to that. That turns us around and gets us set to play the next thing. So it's so you hop up 2 notes and come right down back to the E again. Okay, here is the entire E minor section with the D sharp accidental note, parallel figure, down the scale from B, the turnaround. Okay. Any questions about that? I want to put the four bar bit together if we're ready for it. So,
That's a irrelevant question.
okay, sure.
That's going to come in. What chord goes behind that D sharp, E sharp? E
Oh, it's a D sharp, and it's part of the E minor chord. And we're not worrying about it that it's a temporary clash because it's just a passing note.
Good.
I mean, we're playing it really slow, and if we had to chord each note, it would be weird, right?
Yeah, that's what I was
But we just play that E chord, right? That chord just sits there behind.
It's the leading tone.
Yeah. So the 4 bars put together, the opening of this tune, very useful to know because we will use them again. So with the pickup note, which was A. Let me play the 4 bars for you to listen to, and then I'll play it. Let's play it again without the pickup note this time because when we cycle it through, we can't do it. But let's start with the pickup note one more time, and then when we cycle it through a few times, we'll lose that pickup note. How's that going? Passable? All right. You can work on it, of course, and even people attending in person, you can look up this workshop later on and run it slow, and practice up. So the next 2 bars, the next 4-bar phrase begins with exactly the same 2 bars that the first 4 bars for that first 4-bar phrase starts with. So we just had this scale thing with the turnaround. And the next thing is just what we were practicing. And then the last 2 bars are just a little different, but it's still the same scale idea. So, shall we jump to learning the last 2 bars of the phrase? We'll get a chance to practice all of that. So the last 2 bars, bars 7 and 8 of the A part of the tune, you recall that before the end of the phrase was starting on an E note. This is the parallel figure up 2 notes. So it starts on a G. So let's practice that bit. Right up the scale. And this time I'll add what comes next. So you get up to the top of the scale, the D, you jump to a B note, you're skipping the C, and go right down the scale from there, landing on a D. And putting those 2 bars together, okay, how's everybody doing? Ready for the 8-bar phrase? At least somebody say yes.
Yes.
Okay. I didn't give you much choice there, right?
That 8-bar phrase is the B section.
So the 8-bar phrase is the entire A
The
section.
entire A section.
Mm-hmm. The A section is only 8 bars long. 2 out of the 4 bars of each phrase are the same as each other. So you have this D arpeggio business. Then the scale bit starting on E with the chromatic note. Then the arpeggio thing again, exactly the same. Scale starting on G. So let's try it. Turn around. Arpeggios. how's that starting to sit on your fingers? Okay, no actual response other than looks, but all right.
Any questions online?
What's that?
Any questions online?
No, so far no questions online, but they're still there. Okay, so the B part, similar theme of arpeggio sections and scale sections. However, we have a new arpeggio theme and it's up high. So we're going to learn that bit. The pickup notes, 2 pickup notes, A and C sharp. Okay, and now we have some repeated stuff. So let's find those notes. So first we have a long D, F sharp D, A D, F sharp D, again, now this is also a great opportunity for some Shetland bowing. So let me try to play. I'm going to play it a little faster so I can get into the groove of it. So if you want to try those, you
How is that
can.
characteristic Shetland bowing? What is
So
the
the
fact that he's kind of out of sync with the pulse?
it is, it's off beat.
Yeah.
And what it does is if you have eighth notes in a bar, or we can even consider it in groups of 4, it's going to take the 4th eighth note from the previous beat, tie it into the 1 and 2 of the next group. The 3 gets its own down bow, and then the 4th eighth note gets tied into the 1 and 2 of the next group. So here I have a pickup note. Remember there were 2. So I take the C sharp of that and tie it into this quarter note, which is 1 and 2 eighth notes. Down bow, 3 notes in an up. So it's 3 eighth notes up, 1 down.
Is that 3 notes on a single bow stroke
Yes.
characteristic of Shetland?
Yes, very Shetland. As Tom Anderson would have said in his Shetland dialect, he even wrote his book in Shetland dialect.
Oh, great.
It explains. Well, it's a transcription of his narration.
Yeah.
But he was a radio host, and he always talked in Shetland dialect. He didn't speak standard English, even on the radio, because everybody in Shetland understood that. Yeah. So he would call it 1 doon and 3 up. So there's the 1 doon, right? Right. So in this case, it's there's the 1 doon, 3 up, 1 doon. And what
The first down is the D. The first down is the what?
yes, the D note, and the first, in the first bar, but then after that, the D is the 4th eighth note pickup to the downbeat. What this does is it makes the hard down bow come on the offbeat of the measure. So it gives the Shetland tunes, Shetland reels, a big backbeat.
Is that in the category of the up-driven bow?
Updriven bow is slightly different, refers to something not quite the same, but the notion of accenting offbeats or driving off beats is it's universally Scottish. You don't just, it's not like 1 and 2 and 1. It's 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. And this definitely lets you do that. So you can try it, or if it's too complex at the moment, just play the notes. You can work the bowing in later, but it's good to know what it is. All right. So back to learning the second part of the tune. We had our 2 pickup notes, A and C sharp, and then D. I'm going to do it currently without the bowings. I'll add them in when we speed up a little bit. So at the end of all that, you just go down the arpeggio to a D. So let me play the segment I would like you to do. It's a 2-bar segment with its pickup notes. How are we doing? Okay with that? The second 2 bars, bars 3 and 4, are in the key of C. So far, if you found a C in this tune, it was a C sharp. For these bars, it's not. It's a C natural. The pickup note for this bar is a B note. And you head right for the low C natural. So just find those 2 notes. Now the C arpeggio, the notes in that are C, E, G, E, low C. Let's find that too. So C, E, and G are the notes in the C arpeggio. Okay, how's it going? I think these notes are looking like they're a little harder to find. Is that true? Yeah. All right. Well, the one thing I will say about arpeggio figures is you're either going to be working on the violin with open strings, 4th fingers, or 2nd fingers. So even, right? 0, 2, 4. Or you're going to be working with 1 and 3. Now, on other instruments, you're going to have to come up with other ways of thinking about the patterns. But on violin, you're either working fingers 1 and 3 or fingers 2 and 4 or open on any given string as you work arpeggio patterns up and down. All right, so next bar is from G, C, E, G, C. There are 2 more notes to add to complete this pattern. Okay, that sounds like it's working. All right, the next thing I want to do is put together those 2 bars of C arpeggio with the B note pickup. B pickup note, C quarter note, and then repeat that. So join me on that. The quarter note is a C note. Again. How's that going? Yeah? Sort of? More or less? Enough? Okay, I want to move on because it's going to help us review. Because who remembered what we started the B part with? You're about to find out again because it repeats itself. Yeah, C sharp pickup note. Sound familiar? That's good. Everybody found it again. All right.
And the last note in that phrase is
D.
D.
Yeah. And then the next thing that happens is that we reuse the last 2 of the A part to finish off the phrase. So we just had this. Does that sound familiar? Yeah? Sound familiar? Okay, so let's try attaching it. So let's do that D arpeggio thing and then the ending. And the scales. Right down from B. Yay, everybody made it. Okay, so let's put this 8 bar part of the B part that we have so far and put it together. Now you may say, what? There's more? Well, it's not that hard. It's mostly recycled material, so you don't have to worry about it.
Can you just play yourself?
The 8 bars? Yeah. So here's the B part so far. No. I just played the last 4 bars. Let me play 8 bars this time. Play along. Let's do it again. Let's do it again. Sorry. I sort of lost my way there. That last time
Well, you're
through.
in good company.
Well, we all do sometimes. All right. I would like to do the next bit. Now, the next bit starts exactly the same. This is the second half of the B part, a new 8-bar phrase, but there is nothing new except one pickup note. That's great, right? So we're going to start with the same 2 pickup notes, the same D arpeggio stuff, the same C arpeggio stuff, here's the new pickup note. It's a low C sharp because we're going to recycle A part material. Sound vaguely familiar? And the ending. So I just proved it. The only new note is that low C sharp pickup from one phrase to the other. So let's see if we can find these bits that we've already learned and put them together in the right sequence. The last 8 bars with 2 pickup notes, A and C sharp. The C arpeggio. Low C sharp from the A part. Scale work. our phrase again. Low C sharp. Okay, so that is all of the Willow Kishy. I'm going to suggest that we do the entire tune because putting it together is quite possible. You've got the pieces, but keeping them sequenced is now your next trick. The A part is 8 bars long. It starts with this low arpeggio figure in D. Then there's a scale starting on the E note with the F, the D sharp in it. The low arpeggio sequence. The G note scale. That all repeats. The B part up high, rocking. The C arpeggio. The high part again. G note ending scale. Continuing the B, same rocking part. The C arpeggio part. Low pickup note to recycle the A part. Same ending sequence. So let's try it. Just a tad slower than I just played it. And that repeats. On to the B part. Ending sequence. Second part of the B. Low pickup. From the beginning. Okay, we weren't quite really up to speed. So that was still quite leisurely for a Shetland reel, but it's starting to get there and it's starting to have the possibilities of using Shetland bowings. And by the way, although I showed you the one dune and tree up bowing, that's not the only characteristic Shetland bowing. So there are other things that a Shetland player might do to make it more stylistic. Sometimes in these repeated sequences, like I told you to do the one up, one down, three up bowing, but they might do pairs. Allie Bain does that bowing from time to time. So
Is that bowing pattern, one down and three up, is that the same or similar to the arrow stroke?
similar to the what?
Arrow stroke?
I don't know the arrow stroke. What do you mean by the arrow stroke? Who uses that term?
John Turner uses that term.
John Turner
It's
uses that.
greatly,
Okay. Yes, it's probably really similar to what John means by arrow stroke. But if the arrow I associate with the updriven bow, which is a northeast Strathspey
why
Bay
I'm saying
feature, you know, like a. So that
It works
is
with
three
Scott.
up, one down, and three up. It is a really different.
Yeah. I see
Yeah.
that. Different context.
Yeah, it's a different context. It's used in a different place. But John would do some of this stuff in a Shetland reel if you were playing it.
The arrow stroke works real well with Strathspey too.
Yeah, I think that's more. I think that what you're talking about there is more of a Strathspey bowing. This isn't a Strathspey, but it does have three up. So, all right, have we had enough of De Willow Kishy? Yes. Let's move right along on to the next. We spent a lot of time on that particular tune, so I'm gonna push the others along. Not quite as much gory detail.
Huh.
I'm gonna propose that we do Ray's classic, the polka, as the next ear tune. It's a very different sort of tune than the one we just did. Let me play it for you. Yeah, that gets played in sessions. And so I'm just going to tell you, this is in fact a session processed version of this tune. It's a little different from Willie Hunter's version in his book. Also the name got session processed. So in sessions, it's sometimes known as Ray's classic polka. Willie Hunter didn't call it a polka. Also, it's sometimes called as race classic, like a car race or something. There's no race involved. It's Ray. His friend Ray, apostrophe S, has a classic car. So this is for Ray's classic Ford, composed in 1975. Ray Leask, a longtime friend, had a Ford classic car. So the differences are slight, but what it does is it makes it more of a dancey, drivey polka. And so I decided to accept the session processed version because this is the one in circulation. If you're going to run into this tune in the wild, it's not going to be the way it is in Willie's book, despite that he's the composer. You're going to find this kind of version out there in the wide world. So you might as well know it. If you want to look up Willie's original version, it's accessible via his books. the chords are fantastic, and I'll just, I think I already mentioned this, but I'm just gonna sing praises to Violet Tulloch again. She had a lot to do with this version of the book. Willie Hunter put out a version of his tune book earlier. After he died, his friends and family put a revised edition. They included a few more tunes. Violet Tulloch made sure all the chords were good. She knows her chords, so we have her to thank for the cool chords. And she also wrote this intro with a little bit of biographical information. So very cool. So let's, I already played you Ray's classic, so let's learn it. It's in the key of A, and I have not included a pickup note. So we're going to start right on the downbeat of the A part. And all right. Oh, and I'm going to say, I should have said this before we launched into it, but the version I chose, I got from Liz Donaldson. She got it from Pat Kavanaugh. Pat Kavanaugh is a person known in our Washington area community, plays in Irish sessions and stuff. He's also the one who did graphic design for me, and I'm going to go grab it. So he did the graphic design for me on these two albums.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, so really nice stuff. The cover art on this one's by my daughter, but Patrick put together the whole package, all the text and layout and wonderful stuff, and he did a cover design for this one as well. So very cool, and also a talented and well-liked musician. So I'm happy to use his version of this tune, especially since it's such a good one. All right, so we just played those first two bars. Let's play it again. Next bit. Next two bars, same as the first. Last two bars. So the A part put together is this. sounding much more fluid than the willow cushy sounded after a similar amount of time. All right. The B part. This is where the exciting chords happen. There are really great chords in this tune, and that is entirely Willie Hunter's doing. He wrote the melody this way, and it just has this lovely and exciting chord progression pattern. So starts off like this. Next bit. Next bars. That's a C sharp and a G sharp. And the ending. So we're up here. Pickup notes. Again. Okay, I want to put the B part together. So the B part does a lot of climbing, but it does it by leaping. You know, so you have a lot of intervals of a fifth 5-note difference. Up one, fifths again. Up one, fifths again. And up one, scale. So let's try the B part. Okay, we'll get more chances to play it, but anytime in this tune that you feel that you need a pickup note, that you just want to insert one because it helps your bow direction or it just feels right, put it in. Willie Hunter had pickup notes in. So it's only this folk processed version that doesn't, which means it's fair game to put them back. And yes, it probably is the note you think it is. So if you need a pickup note, just put one in. You will not be penalized in any way, shape, or form for adding pickup notes to this. All right, let's try Ray's Classic from the beginning. Do you remember how it started? That sound a little familiar? Okay, here we go. 2 speed. That would be a not bad dancing tempo. All right, so that's Ray's classic. And if you get people claiming that it's an Irish tune, it's because it has been let loose in the Irish session world. And and it fits right, and it fits right in. It fits right in. But Willie Hunter wrote it. Also, it's not surprising that some of these Shetland tunes find their way to Ireland, because we kind of look at the map and say, oh, Shetland is remote. It's the far north end of Scotland. No, connected by sea. It is close to Ireland. It's close to Scandinavia. So there are a lot of things that the Shetlanders feel close to, and one of them is Ireland. So cross-fertilization between Ireland and Shetland. Yeah.
Do they feel close also to Scandinavia, or is there some
Yes, they definitely do. In fact, there's lots of people who have spent some time researching and tracing Norwegian, especially Norwegian influences on Shetland music. So,
Yes, we're closer to Bergen than Edinburgh.
yeah, probably. I think so. That may be true. I haven't actually measured, though. That's a good question. All right. Do you want another tune by ear, or have you had it?
A nice slow air would go down pretty well.
Okay, well, you know what? I'm going to hand out the sheet music, and we will get to those nice slow airs. But let's give you some pieces of paper while we're at it. And so let me hand around some sheet music. And the other thing I will do is, yeah, okay. So there's a bunch of pages. Take one of each of these as they come around, because I'm giving you each page
Okay.
at a
and
time.
while this is going around, can you check off your name under the month of March?
Page 24, 25.
If you're right.
I'm gonna take a. go for
26.
Okay, I'll take JCP. I'll check that one off.
27.
26.
I printed mine out already, so we need to.
Okay, well, we can take that extra set, can be
Yeah. Extra set. For Jen.
for Dunnett.
Oh, done that too?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, you're taking one for Jane as well?
Jane, Jane
Okay.
Zeke. Yeah,
Okay.
I'll check off her name.
All right.
That's the same you already have that. No,
That's what it is. I don't have to.
okay, so you got-
Do you want me to do anything?
No, I've already,
Oh,
I have my whole set.
Okay, Bill has all of the sets. Here's an extra set.
Or Jane. Does this include 28? Okay.
And then, did you get a set? Okay.
24 to 28.
I need 26 and 28.
Oh,
Okay, did somebody, I sent around 5 of each page, so make sure you didn't snag 2 of the same page.
There's 227.
There you
go.
Mhm.
22?
24, 25, 26, 27. Here's a,
Hold on, I think I got extra pages here. for you.
yeah, I think if you got the wrong, if you tried to take 2 off the same stack, it would
I got-
not work.
You got 20?
Basil, do you have more than one of
Yeah,
the same page?
I got to figure out what I have here.
Donnette, here's a complete set.
I got extra sets here.
I'll take those extras.
I got you need 25. And 24. Is that it? There's
27, 24 through 28.
26.
And I have 2 extra page 27, so somebody's either missing them or they got double of something else.
So you have full set now. So 2 pages here.
Okay, meanwhile, I will go get my calendar because I'm going to tell you about upcoming Fiddle Club meetings.
24, 25. 24, 25, 26.
So there's a sheet for passing around for signing off.
Seven.
Yes, it's back here.
It's on
Yep.
clipboard.
Right.
Okay, do you have your full set?
Yes, I do.
Well, what do you need?
I think I'm fine, 24.
my 2
Do you have 5 pages, Doug? 24, 25, 26, 27, and 28?
I don't have 24, 28.
Okay, then I bet Basil has 2 28s.
Yeah, I got one. 25, 25.
And then anything else you have, Basil, that's extra,
Yeah, let me see here.
hand it on back.
26. You want 28?
I need 28.
My two favorite things on the difference between Irish and Scottish music. Alistair Fraser said 13 miles.
Oh.
And
25.
I think his name is Dave Hansler, and afterwards was Irish, was answering questions. And this woman stood up and said, "That sounded Scottish." He said, "Well, you know, there was a lot of toing and froing."
Yes, a lot of toing and froing, for sure. In fact, it's been going on for centuries. So,
I always like those two comments.
yeah,
I guess
That's-
Shetland is also on the way to Iceland. Was it the Faroes or?
yes, it's near the Faroe Islands. It's nearer to Iceland. So, all right. I just want to mention the next Fiddle Club meeting is going to be the third Sunday in April, not the second, but the third. And it's another one of these. Yes. So April 16th.
Easter?
Yeah, the
It is
second
Easter.
the second Sunday is Easter, 9th. So we're not having the meeting then, and we'll have it on the 16th instead.
February Super Bowl. So.
Yeah, I know, but we didn't skip the Super Bowl. We found through experience there's less overlap,
Yeah, right.
right? And then it looks like May 14th, the second Sunday, is our May meeting. So April 16th, May 14th. So take note of those so that you won't be surprised or shocked when the message comes around. All right. So on page 24, if we can get back to reading some sheet music. On page 24, we have the Cape Breton visit to Shetland. So this goes under many, many names, but the actual title in Willie Hunter's own book is the Cape Breton visit to Shetland. So what happened is a group of Cape Breton fiddlers known as the Cape Breton Symphony
I
took
don't
a,
have a 27 for some reason.
that's because the extra 27s came back to me. Do you
Oh.
need this
Yeah, I didn't want
filled
just
out to make a
27.
set? There you go.
Oh, okay. No, I just need 27.
Okay.
I have. But
All right. Very good.
4, 5, 6, 7.
All right. So the Cape Breton Symphony was not a symphony orchestra. It was about 5 or 6 players, and it was all the great players. It was, I think, Dan R. McDonald and Donald Angus Beaton and Buddy McMaster and Carl Mackenzie. And it had different iterations. So later on, John Morris Rankin was one of them. And I'm not sure who all was in it over all of its existence, but basically a group of Shetland, Cape Breton fiddlers who decided to get together to showcase Cape Breton music. And among other places, they made a visit to Shetland. They liked it so much, they became good friends with the Shetland musicians. They came back more than once. And Willie Hunter really hit it off with some of these guys, and he wrote this Cape Breton visit to Shetland. And the whole idea was that Willie noticed that in contrast to common Shetland fiddle practice, the Cape Bretoners were always using the burl. Cape Breton fiddle tunes, as we know from workshops, they often have these. So just to name one tune, Brenda Stubbert's, that has lots of these burls in it all over the place. Right, Trip to Windsor. So they put them in all over the place. And so Willie said, okay, I'm going to write my own Shetland tune that's full of these burls, Cape Breton style. And he came up to this tune. He came up with this tune, the Cape Breton Visit to Shetland. So let me play it for you. I have to play it twice through because Willie wrote a special final ending. So I got to play it the second time so that you can hear how it goes in its full way that he intended it. Okay, so that's the whole tune. Obviously, you could play it more than twice through before you go to that final ending.
What's the squirrely
What
thing?
are all the little squirrely things?
What's the
Yeah,
thing at the beginning there?
yeah. So that is a DS. So DS Alcoda del Segno, from the sign. So that is the sign, the little S squiggly thing with a slashy thing and a dots on it. That is the sign that you go back to. Now, where is the DS? You play the A part, it repeats. You play the B part, it has a first ending. You play the B part again and jump to the second ending where it says at the end of that, DS al coda. That means play it from the sign. All that means is the pickup notes are already included and they're a little different from the beginning of the tune. So pay attention. Jump to the beginning of the bar line where that little sign is, instead of playing the pickup notes at the top of the tune. Then play the whole tune through again. Now, al coda, the coda has a little circle with a vertical and horizontal line through it. That is the coda sign.
Okay.
And you play through the tune until you come to that little egg-shaped coda sign. Now, the first time through the B part, you just play through the first ending and take the repeat. The second time through, at the end of the third line of the tune in this printed version, is the coda sign. At that spot, exactly, you jump and substitute the notes written for the notes at the end of the bar. And then play onward from there, and you're done. So that is the roadmap.
So you don't play those 2 eighth notes.
That's right, where the coda sign is written. And I also wrote an extra just for people who are not as familiar. This is standard classical music notation, but if you're not as familiar with using it, I wrote under the coda sign, to the coda last time. So right there where that sign is sitting right above an F sharp note, you don't play that F sharp note. You go to the coda where there is an E note instead that takes you on a different path. All right, that is the roadmap. Let's play it through slowly. We're going to do it twice through so that we can do the whole rigmarole. With the first ending, the second ending, go back to the sign, play it through again, first ending, second time through, jump to the coda at the coda sign, and go on out at the bottom. Okay, let's give it a go. We made it. Did anybody find confusion along the way, or was it? Yeah, a little bit. Did you see how it worked though? Did
Yeah.
you
Right.
found your way again?
So people
Yeah.
can find the flow.
So it's not easy to lay out a tune that has this kind of complexity, because essentially you have a third ending, but your third ending comes in only at last time.
Would that mess up the dancers if someone were dancing?
No, this is a great dance tune, but you do have to
How you
pick.
put the pieces
You
together?
have to pick which parts you put together, and you have to put it together right, so that it's still a 32 bar tune.
If they're Shetland fiddlers, what's Buddy McMaster doing with them? I thought
Well, he was visiting,
Ah!
right? So the Cape
Yeah,
Breton
coming
Symphony, the Cape Breton Symphony, which is just this group of very excellent Cape Breton fiddlers, went on tour visiting.
Yeah.
They went to various places in Scotland, blah, 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 stopped in Shetland, where they found a very congenial and welcoming environment. Willie Hunter loved them. All the other Shetland fiddlers there loved them. Ronnie Cooper, the pianist, was there as well. And this explains how certain Shetland tunes, particularly some of Ronnie Cooper's tunes, came into Cape Breton repertoire where they're played. Buddy McMaster always played some Ronnie Cooper tunes. And at first it was a mystery to me why they were in his repertoire. But when I figured out, Cape Breton fiddlers went to Shetland and Buddy was one of them, it made perfect sense. So we have a question online about what times the Fiddle Club meetings are on April 16th and May 15th. They start at 2:30. We always try to start at 2:30. When we were only live, we'd wait until we had people show up. When we were only online, I started promptly at 2:30 unless I was having technical issues. Now that we're back to hybrid, we have this thing where, the online people are trained to start at 2:30 and the live people are like, wandering around 2:30. So we're going to try to converge on 2:30. And the online people have to give a little bit of leeway because sometimes somebody's settling in, and the live people have to try to actually get here at 2:30 when it starts. So, okay, Cape Breton visit to Shetland. Why don't we play it again and maybe play it 2 or 3 times through, 3 times through before we go to the ending. So we have a chance to maybe work the tempo up just a little bit.
Can't do it, I'll get totally wrong.
3 times before the ending. What do you mean?
Right, so 1, 2, and on the third time, we'll take the fancy ending. Coda. Okay, so it can be played quite a bit faster.
Not by me.
I'll have mercy. We'll not make you play it that fast this time. Let's go ahead to the next page. So on page 25, we have Willie Hunter's compliments to Dan R. McDonald. So Dan R. McDonald, Cape Breton fiddler. Dan R. made many trips to Scotland and Shetland. First, when he was in the army in World War II, he was in a forestry. I don't know if it was a company or a battalion or a regiment or whatever, but he was in a forestry unit where, because he had forestry experience in Cape Breton, and their job was like clearing paths through otherwise obstructed places so that vehicles could get through in operations in Europe. Anyway, when Dan R. went over to Scotland, he met J. Murdoch Henderson, who was this great collector of Scottish tunes. He met other people, and that got him to come back later on when he had more leisure time to just hang out and play fiddle tunes. So he was probably a big spearhead of this Cape Breton fiddler's visit to Shetland in the first place. He became lifelong friends with Willie Hunter. They were both tune composers, so they're often trading tunes with each other. So Willie Hunter wrote Dan R. a strathspey. It's not a Cape Breton style strathspey. When Shetlanders play strathspeys, which is not that common, they generally favor the Northeast style. So this is a Northeast style strathspey. So I'll play it for you. Oh, by the way, the figure at the note at the beginning of the tune that has a D note, but it has a double head. What that means is to play a fourth finger D at the same time as playing an open string D. So you double the note like that. So that is the strathspey. It's quite fancy, right? Yep. So let's go for it. Let's play it. Nice and slow, right? Northeast style can be played really slow with lots of space. So let's take advantage of that and play it slowly.
Can Scottish dancers dance the Strasbourg?
What's that?
Can mainline Scottish dancers dance the Strasbourg?
No. So Northeast style is often played slower than dance tempo. Now, Northeast style players can play for Scottish country dancing, but they have to sort of pump up their tempos a little bit and make sure that they don't leave space and expand in a way that the dancers can't handle. So they can't be changing the rhythm that much. But if they're playing, Northeast style players are playing for listening purposes, they can get all expansive, and sometimes these tunes are nothing like dance tempo. They are still Strathspeys, but they are not dancing Strathspeys.
I gather these chords are the work of Mr. Hunter's wife.
No, not his wife, but Violet Tulloch, the pianist. She was not married to him.
They're very intricate chords.
Yeah, they're wonderful chords. And I think that although I'm attributing the chords to Violet Tulloch, actually I know she did the chords for the book, but I would be surprised if Willie didn't have some preferences that he expressed to her when they played, because they played together for years and years. So if he said, "Oh, Violet, I don't like that chord there. That's not what I intended," she would have changed it.
But that G sharp diminished what's perfectly home, right?
It is perfectly at home. The lines there are actually really nice. If you look at the bass lines that I put in there, they're nice.
Are the little threes mean that you do them in one level?
The threes just mean it's a triplet rhythm.
Oh.
So you do not have to slur it. In fact, I usually don't. Let me show a passage of triplets. In the first line, I slurred the last three. All the others were articulated separately. Also, I'm not playing them super straight. That's more northeast.
Yeah, you're dotting them.
Yeah. I'm actually not dotting them all. I'm doing a push and pull thing. Yeah. So the first three are stretched out, and the second three are run tight, and then it's stretched out. That's a Northeast style thing to do. That's a Northeast treatment of triplet runs. Now, the Cape Bretoners, Dan R. and other Cape Bretoners I've heard playing triplets, they like to play them straight. So if you want to do a Dan R. interpretation of this Strathspey, a more Cape Breton approach to it, you can play them straight. And I won't stop you. But I'm going with the Northeast feel for this, personally. Okay, De Willow Kishy. We will not play that right now because we did it by ear. Remember? I hope. Okay, so we're going to move right along to this page 26, which has two tunes in B flat. Don't be afraid of B flat. B flat is actually a pretty fine key in a number of ways. As long as you don't have to play too many fourth finger E flats, you're pretty good in the key of B flat. And one reason the key of B flat is nice is because you can do little figures where you these little triplets. This is a slow hornpipe, and they tend to have these little triplet decorations where if you were in the key of A for this hornpipe, which seems like an easier key, right, Doug?
Yes, definitely.
Yes. If you had to play these decorations in the key of A, you would be changing strings. In the key of B flat, all on one string. Very convenient. So that is why B flat is not so bad for a hornpipe. There's time, and it suits the decorative elements.
E flat's a good harp key too.
Yeah, well, it's not that flat, right?
Yeah.
And like I said, as long as you're not always playing lots of fourth finger E flats, it's not even that inconvenient. Okay, let me play Billy's Welcome to Cannon Part. So who is Billy? Let me explain the background of this one. So Willie Hunter, who was formerly known as Willie Hunter Jr., is the son of Willie Hunter Sr. His son is Billy. So you get Willie, Billy. there's obviously a tradition in their family of naming the son William. So Billy was born in a part of London called Cannons Park. They were living in London at the time. And so this is a tune welcoming the birth of his son. Oops, let me play that last run again. There, that's a little better. All right, so this is one of those fancy showpiece hornpipes. We had some 2 years ago, the Acrobat. What was the other one that went with the Acrobat? Nobody's immediately jumping and saying, Ruth likes these showpiece hornpipes. She wanted to play them at the jam session. Banks and Madame Neruda, which we had a few years before, other showpiece hornpipes. So Willie Hunter's written a showpiece. Let's just play it through and make the best of it. You can tell, though, that it's meant to be fun.
Yeah, it's fun tune.
Mm-hmm. Anybody want to do it again? No. All right. I lose. I thought it was great. I love this tune.
Nice tune. Good for playing.
I'll play it in privacy on a cloth.
Well, work it up and you may find that this is a real gem. Okay, Pat's real. Pat is Willie Hunter's wife. And so the little story behind this is, where is it? Oh, come now. Pat's reel. Right. Willie composed and dedicated this tune to his wife, Pat, shortly before his death. And he felt that it captured a picture of Pat forever busy and active. I think that is absolutely true. Let me play the tune for you and you can judge for yourself. Wow. Now, I'm just going to reinterpret what I wrote with the DC Elfine, which means go back to the beginning and play it to where the fine is marked, which means ending. Yeah, he wanted you to add an extra 8 bars to this tune. So it's the 32 bar form, and then go back and play the A part one more time, extra 8 bars. So that was Willie's vision of the way this tune should be performed.
But the last time you played the A section, you go to the repeat.
Right. And that's what I was checking,
Yeah.
was whether it was just 8 more bars. And that is what he intended. Okay, let's play it. Let's play it slower. Because even if Pat's busy, we don't have to be quite as busy as Pat. Okay, let's play it again a little faster this time.
So if you play it twice, you play the extra bar.
And then the extra A.
Go back again.
Yeah. Think of it as a 40 bar tune.
Just every time.
Yeah. Although it would kind of be hard to play it in, 3 times through 40 bars because it would be a lot of A parts in a row.
Yeah.
So I think that I would, if I were performing this, I would interpret it as my last time, whatever that is, add the extra 8 of the extra 8 bar.
If we played for a dance, we would do that too, I suppose. So
If we were
No,
playing it for
for
dance
dance,
and the dance was 32 bars long, we'd only be playing 32 bars.
so-
Yeah, we'd have to sort that through somehow, like transitioning to something that sounds like it starts the same way. Okay, let's play it just a little faster. Anybody for a faster version? No, no, thank you. Not for this crowd. Okay. All right. We're getting some comments that I should. Okay. Sounds like something you would hear at the circus. Oh, that must be the Billy's Welcome to Cannons Park. And then another one. Frequently ramping up to a reel or jig in the appropriate. Okay. And I think that's also about Billy's Welcome. And Pat's reel, I find it lots of fun. I'm looking forward to integrating that one into my own repertoire. Let's go to more congenial keys for fiddlers. Love of the Isles on page 27. This is one of Willie's most famous slow airs, although it's not the most famous slow air. So let's see what it says in the book of notes on this tune. The Isles are obviously the Shetland Isles. Right, one of his most evocative airs, written in a reflective mood and a great favorite with the players and the audiences alike. So the chords are quite sentimental. They kind of add to the emotional content that the composer was intending. So if you get a chance to hear it with the chords, I try to do a little bit of underneath chord suggestion, but it's not the same without an outright chord instrument accompanying it. And I'll just mention, Willie Hunter was also friends with a lot of famous accordionists in Scottish dance bands who had come to Shetland to play. And the dance band players of the 60s and 70s, accordion bands were the thing then, and they had a certain style of chordal accompaniment. We've seen it before in some of our workshops where we featured accordion tunes of that time. And so I've tried to include some of their accordion type chords in this air. Let's play it. So in the third to last bar, there's a fermata, that little with a, and that means that you can hold that note. So you can really stretch it out, So there I held it longer and I, really stretched out, left some space. You don't have to do it that dramatically. As it's sort of, what's the feeling of the moment for how long to hold it? There's no specified time. Okay, Da Green Isle. This is Willie Hunter Sr. So one of his father's tunes. It's not the most famous Willie Hunter Sr. tune, but I liked it. I thought, this sounds just like one of those old Shetland reels. Okay, let's try it. Lots of arpeggios and a big range, but that's a very much a Shetland thing, is to use the low strings, let them ring along as you play stuff up high. Okay, slower, right? Okay, and one of the possibilities, but playing along with the Shetland tune, a Shetland reel always is just to do Shetland shuffle accompaniment. Where you just get that 3 up and 1 down going. And you play that along with the tune. So that's a really good technique to learn. You just play a little chordal shuffle along with the tune, and then you don't have to play all those notes all that fast.
So you just play the 1, 2, the first note of each one of those.
The letter underneath is the chord.
Oh, okay.
So if you know a G chord, or you can just play a G note. If you just play a G note, you're good. If you play a G chord, and all of those are versions of a G chord, then you can get by doing these little changes where you only change 1 finger at a time to play these chords.
You're doing the shuffle, the down is the
So I'm doing
chord.
3 up, 1 down. And that's the pattern for this tune all the way through. And my foot taps were on the downbeat. The down bow was on the offbeat, and the up bow was across the downbeat. And the chord change was at the downbeat, so it was in the middle of the up bow. Yeah. So just explaining how that works.
Is that gonna be on the 10th?
No, that's optional. If you want to do it, it's
If
great.
you're doing it with you, then understand the explanation.
Do you want to try it?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's all try the shuffle for the green isle. And you can either follow my fingerings, or you can just play a G, a D, and a C. This is just the shuffle bowing. Now I'm going to start the tune here. Change to D, to G, C, D, and it repeats G. Change to D, G, C, D. I'm going to switch to melody. All right. So,
So you play a G chord, just a G and a D, right?
yeah.
And a D chord with A and a D? Or...
So the D chord with an A and a because that's the easiest change, right? One finger different. And the C chord, I had to change 2 notes. Some other keys where there are some other keys where you can get away with the open strings in 1 finger only. So that's pretty nice when you're doing accompaniment. All right, let's move on because we've got to get Willie Hunter's most famous tune, Leaving Lerwick Harbor. So Lerwick is the biggest city in Shetland, and it's a port. It's also the biggest port in the Shetland Isles. And so, right, so his Aunt Babsy immigrated from Shetland to New Zealand at some point, and then she came back to visit in Shetland. And Willie always remembered her departure on the ferry, leaving Lerwick Harbor. So he composed this slow air in honor of his aunt, and it was his feelings on seeing her leave after a visit. And it says this was Willie's own favorite composition. It's also one of his most famous. That's just a beautiful, beautiful tune. Okay. Oh, we have a comment on the chat. This is a great way to spend a Sunday afternoon. Well, I couldn't agree more. What a wonderful way to spend your time is playing tunes like these. So let's play Leaving Lerwick Harbor. Oh, I'll give you a visual image because there's a color picture to go with this tune. So there's the ferry. There we go for the camera there. The ferry leaving Lerwick Harbor, and he also had a beautiful color picture for the Love of the Isles. There it is. Yeah, you can see it's a beautiful place, right?
You been to Shetland?
I have not been. I was hoping to go there, but it didn't happen yet. So we'll see. There's time yet. Let's play the tune. nice tune. So if you're going to bother to learn any tune in B flat, this is the one. It's a good one to know. I mean, it's very popular. People do know this tune all over the place. And because it's not fast, there is time. There is time to get your B flat in working order. So we've got our last tune, the Sooth End, which is a jig. And I think I have a note here somewhere telling me other tunes by Willie Hunter that we may have had in the past. Oh yeah, we have a Willie Hunter senior tune, Silux and Tatties, that was in our food workshop, our food tunes, which was 2 years ago. And then we have Old Willie Hunter, which was not written by Willie Hunter. It was composed by Ronnie Cooper for Willie Hunter. And that is in book 19. All right. So Sooth End, which is the south end. All right, it won Willie first prize in a competition at the Bankery Fiddle Festival in 1971. It was composed in compliment to his father's tune, the North Road. The Sooth End is part of Larrick's Commercial Street from the toll booth to Leog. I don't even know where those are, but here's a picture of the Sooth End. There it is for the camera. And so this is one of Willie's jigs. He has not as many as his reels, but there, I already said, I showed you a sampling. There's kind of everything, a little bit of everything in this book. So here's the Sooth End jig. Kind of perpetual motion jig with occasional pauses for breath at the end of the 4-bar phrase. Okay, let's give it a go. How about if we play once through our ear tunes? And if you want to refer to the sheet music, you can, and I can't stop you. But we did learn these by ear, so you should not actually need to be glued to the page entirely. All right, so let's do the Willow Kishie, and then let's finish up with Ray's Classic. again. And Ray's classic. All right, so that is music of Willie Hunter from Shetland, 20th century Shetland composer, and a nice sampling of his range of stuff. And I hope you really enjoyed it as much as I did, because I had tons of fun with Willie Hunter's tunes. And I will sign out from the live stream. Bye to the live stream people. It's been fun.
Bye.
And here at our regular one, we'll have our potluck dinner and jam.
Join us.